Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome, come on in, have a seat. I'm Emily with Hearty Soul, and I'm so glad that you're here with us. Today I'm sharing all about our corn silage harvest of 2022, and we're so glad that our season is now wrapped up and we're now starting to sort of winterize our equipment and get ready for the winter and the colder seasons. So the first thing we do is take our truck to the field to meet up with the chopper. And the chopper and the truck driver will have a really good communication about how to line up, where the chopper is going to be going, and the chopper starts to fill the truck with our silage. As you can see in this video, the chopper gathers all of the stalk and the corn, everything in the field, and chops it up and then empties it into our harvest trucks. In these harvest trucks, at the end of summer and the beginning of fall, it can sometimes get super hot. So we have to keep the windows rolled down because a lot of them don't have air conditioning. And a lot of times, some of that corn silage will just get blown right into the windows, right in my face as I was riding along with Carrie. In this clip, you'll watch my husband attempting a moisture sample. So we were trying to determine whether we should start in on another field or if the corn silage was too wet and we needed to wait. So he needed to test the moisture level of this corn. Now, watching this clip back, he admits to me that this was not the safest practice, but we were kind of under the gun and we needed to make sure that that corn was ready to go so that we can move into that field really quickly. So he had a really good communication with the chopper driver and made this little sample work well for them. harvest trucks then bring it back to our blacktop pad where it is tightly packed on a pile and then eventually covered with plastic and tires. You'll have to wait until the next video to watch how we cover our pile with plastic and tires, and we'll show you just how many people it takes to cover one of these massive piles. So when I was growing up on our family dairy farm, we always served harvest meals. This is just one of the things that came along with farming, is knowing and learning how to cook for a large group of people. It's just our simple way of saying, hey, thanks for leaving your farm and your family dinner table to come join us and help us bring in our harvest. It's just one of those little ways that we can say thank you. And I've gotten pretty good at being able to whip up a meal for anywhere from 8 to 20 people. Between Mom and I, we get all of the food ready. When we have time, we combine our efforts and we can put together a really nice hot meal. I will say sometimes it might mean a hot pizza from Quick Trip, but everybody really appreciates the fact that we're putting some sort of effort into feeding them a hot meal at the end of a long, hard day. In this clip, you're going to see Carrie with a measuring wheel. So he's measuring out for a couple of different reasons. He's measuring out where the next corn silage pad needs to fit, and also he uses this measuring tool to figure out how much plastic we're going to need in order to cover this entire corn silage pile. Our kids get super excited about this time of year. It's generally when they see the most people on our farm, which gives them this really awesome feeling of we're part of a team, we're part of something bigger. And it really does take an entire neighborhood of people to come together to join in both equipment and manpower to bring in harvest. So not only do we bring in our own harvest here on our farm, but when we're done with our harvest and with our season, then we go to the next neighbors over until everybody's harvest is brought in and ready for the winter. It really is all hands on deck when it comes to this time of year. Whether it's our kids helping in the kitchen or our little people riding along with grandpa or dad in a harvest truck, everybody partakes, and it's just one of those things that I feel like we're building memories with. Sometimes we have super late nights because we are looking ahead and watching the weather forecast and thinking it might rain in a couple of days. So that means that sometimes the nights can get super long. And sometimes equipment breaks down. So These times I recognize as a farm wife and as a mother and as a person who grew up on a dairy farm that these late nights mean really tired, sometimes cranky farmers, and I just do my best to support them as much as possible, whether that means running after parts or warming up some leftovers for lunch or serving a really nice hot meal for dinner. And sometimes that means carrying in a little 8-year-old boy out of a harvest truck because he really wants to continue farming, but you know that he's got school in the morning and he needs to get cleaned up and get some good night's sleep. I do really enjoy that we live and work right on our dairy farm. Our kids are watching the equipment coming in and out, and they really have an opportunity to partake in this way of life that we've chosen to give them. We do have to talk a lot about safety though with our kids, and that means that we generally have one major rule for safety on our farm, and that is that our children should never, and even ourselves, will never approach a piece of equipment with an operator in it unless that piece of equipment is stopped and you have either visual or verbal communication with that operator that then allows them to approach a piece of machinery. I really love watching multiple generations working together. This is my dad and my son just loves, he actually fits so good up in underneath this truck, and because it was a safe thing for him to do, we allowed him to do it, but he just loves watching Grandpa maneuver things and working hard, and he's just earning a lot of grit, I can tell.
Well, I know I can't get the rest of it. It's hard to get rid of the wood.
Thank you so much for watching our video on harvesting our corn silage 2022. It was a fantastic year, and luckily everybody was safe and we didn't have any major injuries or health scares during this season. We were able to bring in not only our corn silage but our neighboring corn silage, and I have a feeling that everybody's now resting and getting ready for the next season that's coming upon us. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great week.